Now might be a good time to check on the status of devices if there's any question in your mind. Even if it means going out into the reception area to check, that's allowed too. So thank you all very much for being here. And this is our second class in our series of 6 on the Ganges Mahamudra. Change your perception, change your world. So let's go ahead and settle in for some meditation. Please take care to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. We're facing straight ahead with our head tilted slightly forward. And this serves to bring our spine perfectly into alignment. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and softly close your eyes. And to begin, I'd like you to please gently bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath. And allow your exhalation to be just a bit longer and a bit more pronounced than your inhalation. Please feel free to experiment with pausing briefly at the bottom of each exhalation. This meditation technique will allow both your physical body and your mind to start to settle and rest, to become quiet and still. Now is not the time to reflect on events that have occurred in the past. Those events cannot be changed, undone, or relived. Nor is this the time to speculate about events that may or may not occur in the future. The future is completely uncertain. Now is the time to be fully present here in this moment. Now is the time to give yourself permission to enjoy engaging in a practice that's going to bring you a peaceful state of mind, and at the same time contribute to the creation of a peaceful world. And with that, I'd like you to please bring your awareness to the crown of your head, to your scalp in particular. And I'd like you to allow at once all of the tiny muscles and nerves that support your scalp to become loose and completely relaxed. The tiny muscles and nerves at the top of your scalp and the back of your scalp, the sides of your scalp. Just allow these tiny muscles and nerves to at once release and become loose and deeply, deeply relaxed. Please allow the tiny muscles and nerves across your forehead, the tiny muscles that support your eyebrows, and all of the muscles in your face to become soft and completely relaxed. Your facial muscles become so soft and relaxed that it might feel as though the pores of your skin are opening up now. Your mind starts to relax as your body is starting to relax. And for the remainder of our meditation this evening, I would invite you to bring your awareness not only to the words that you hear, but also to the silent gaps in between the words and in between the sentences. In particular, please allow the muscles that support your jaw to become soft and relaxed. Just allow any tension that you might be carrying in your jaw to dissipate, to drain away, to dissolve into empty space, to dissolve into space like emptiness. Your jaw starts to feel a bit heavier now, and it takes a gentle and deliberate effort to keep your jaw from dropping open. Please allow the muscles in your neck and your throat to become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed. And as your shoulders settle and rest, they may start to feel a bit heavier now. And this causes them to drop down into a natural, comfortable position. There's a subtle lengthening of your neck and a subtle lengthening of your spine. Please allow the muscles in your arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers to each become completely soft and completely relaxed. And your hands now might feel a bit warmer and heavier as they rest in your lap. And your mind relaxes as your body relaxes. The muscles in your chest become soft and relaxed, and your lungs are now able to perform perfectly and without effort their natural function of breathing. The muscles in your abdomen, and likewise all of the muscles in your back, all of the muscles that support your shoulder blades and your spine, allow these muscle sets to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed as you drop deeper and deeper on down. And let yourself go. Allow your immune system to rest and relax, and therefore to strengthen. Your immune system is a physiological gift that you enjoy, a physiological gift that functions to protect you. And for your immune system to function at an optimal level, no doing is required on your part. All that is asked of you is to allow your immune system to do that which it has naturally evolved to do, and that is to protect you. So for the next couple of moments, I'd like you to please just rest, relax, and allow. The muscles in your hips and your pelvic area become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your legs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. One by one, these muscle sets become completely soft and completely relax the soles of your feet, even the muscles and nerves in the soles of your feet, even the tiny muscles and nerves at the tips of your toes, even your bodily fluids, even the bare marrow in your bones is resting and relaxed. Your body is both centered and settled. You're in a state of perfect physical equilibrium. Your mind relaxes completely now as your body is completely relaxed. And let yourself go. You have complete freedom to let go of this confused notion of self and other. So let yourself go. We can now engage in the meditation on the inner body. To accomplish this, please draw your awareness inside of your body and become aware of sensations. Sensations that may start in your hands and your feet in the form of a tingling, perhaps a lightness, perhaps a heaviness, perhaps a pulsation. No analysis is necessary. There's nothing to figure out. Just be the silent observer of these sensations and allow an even more tranquil, supple state of awareness to emerge. The natural tendency of these sensations is for them to travel up into your arms and your legs, perhaps into the region of your chest, perhaps your face and your cheeks. To inform your meditation, you may find it beneficial to bring to mind the image of a mountain. The mountain is balanced, grounded, and stable. The mountain has consciousness, and as such, you can know that all it does, day after day, year after year, is observe silently. Rain may fall on the mountain or not. The wind may blow. The sun may shine. A small sapling may grow into a giant tree, become uprooted, and then fall to the ground. The mountain simply observes silently. No interpretation, no judgment, no labeling, no comparing, no speculation. Be like a mountain. Be like a mountain with ancient wisdom consciousness as you silently observe sensations within your own body mountain. Now, very gently, very, very gently, please redirect your awareness. Become aware again of your physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside this room, the ceiling above you, the floor beneath your feet, people neighboring you, and so forth. Allow your awareness to extend outside of this room. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of outer space beyond the blue sky. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Thank you very much. Thursdays are very full days for me, so these meditations that we do on Thursday evenings are very welcome for sure. So at our class a week ago, our first class in our series of 6, this series that we have titled change your perception, change your world. We talked about the life of Tilopa. Tilopa, the author of the Ganges Mahamudra, not really the author, the person who imparted the teaching, the Ganges Mahamudra, to his student Naropa on the banks of the river Ganges. And for those of you who weren't here a week ago, we recorded that class, and it's up on Lotus Center's YouTube channel. I even created a new playlist called Mahamudra. Mahamudra translated means great seal. Maha, great, mudra, seal. Mahamudra, great seal, as in seal of reliability or authenticity. So if you weren't here last week, feel free to go to the website and check and kind of catch up. I love that story. It's just one of the most beautiful stories and so inspiring in so many ways for me. The Ganges Mahamudra is, for me, the most profound teaching I've ever encountered. It has everything. It has everything, all of the really deep topics. It addresses emptiness. It addresses impermanence. It addresses compassion. It touches all of the big topics of training the mind. And I don't think that should necessarily be our motivation for aspiring to become more familiar with the Ganges Mahamudra. It's a completely valid motivation. And I believe that a good approach to the Ganges Mahamudra might be to kind of go back to square one of our own individual spiritual practice, our own spirituality, and ask ourselves, what is it that I really hope to accomplish with this life? What is the purpose of this human life that I have? Why do I do what I do? Why do I get out of bed in the mornings? Maybe meditate, maybe not. Go around doing all of the things that we do, making a living, acquiring things, disposing of things, taking trips, maybe traveling, maintaining friendships, following current events, meditating, studying spiritual texts. If you're like me, you don't step back very often and ask that question of ourselves, kind of check in with ourselves. Why do I do the things that I do? Whether they're kind of worldly things, whatever that means to you, whatever that means to each of us individually, or meaningful / spiritual. Why do I do the things that I do? What's the purpose? What's kind of the end game that I have in mind? For each of us, the answer is, of course, personal and individual, right? And I'll offer some possibilities, not an all-inclusive list. Maybe some of them will resonate with you. To be at peace, to be at peace inside, maybe to reach a state where I am completely free of anxiety and worry. Imagine what that would be like to abide in that state, completely free of anxiety and worry, stress, completely free of stress all the time. Not just when we're having like a really killer vacation and we've been away from work for however long it takes for us to decompress from work, just like all the time. Like that's our baseline. There's, of course, the topic that we addressed in our last series, love. Maybe that is why some of us do the things that we do, to love and be loved. Period. Well, maybe not period. Maybe to be loved involves becoming more lovable. Again, whatever that means to each of us individually. To be loved, I suppose that we play a part in that, right? The more lovable we are, the more likely we are to be loved. Yeah, and I'm not going down some codependent path, where we try to mold ourselves into what we think others will appreciate. Most of that, just we all want to be loved, and things like being more genuine and being more authentic, being more open. I think these things make us more loved. According to that would make me more lovable in Jeff's world, and therefore more loved. Whatever it is for each of us that impels us to do what we do, I think it's really worthwhile to step back and ask that from time to time, rather than, the deep dive into like subtle impermanence and emptiness and the middle way and, all of the super deep topics, end of the path topics and meditations, There's a place for both. I'm here to tell you that the answer to all of those questions, why do I do what I do? It's to reach a place where I am completely at peace, abiding in a state of inner peace that doesn't waver with the externalities, or to love more authentically and be loved more authentically. How do I do those things? How do I accomplish those things? All of those answers are in the Ganges Mahamudra, all of them without exception. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I remember when he introduced this series, he said that the Ganges Mahamudra is a Buddhist teaching, and he's a Buddhist, so of course he's going to say that all the answers are there, right? So if that's kind of your lovingly skeptical perspective, that's okay. That's okay. I will tell you that as a result of my as a result of my becoming familiar with the Ganges Mahamudra, the further I go, the less I know what being a Buddhist means, or what Buddhism means, or kind of what any sort of label means. You know, the further I go, the less important and the less understandable for me these different labels and classifications are. And by the way, for our one person who participates in our Monday, Wednesday meditation classes, who will remain nameless, Blanca, I'll remind you about our final examination from our first year of our 2021 learning to how to start and maintain a consistent meditation practice. This is the final exam. Sorry, not final exam, that because there is no final, there's no such thing as final, but the year one examination, it's one question, two questions actually. Yes or no, are you an American? Yes or no, are you a non-American? That's the examination after our first year of meditation. Are you an American? Yes or no? Question number two, are you a non-American? Yes or no? And I'll give you a little hint. You can substitute any name in there for American. Christian, Republican, Russian, Democrat, figure skater. The question remains the same. Are you this, yes or no? Or are you a non-this, yes or no? So maybe over the weeks and months we can get some clarity on those two questions. Anyways, I'm digressing in a really big way. The Ganges Mahamudra gives us answers to all of these questions. And there are a lot of really, really important existentially changing aspects to the Ganges Mahamudra. And the first one comes in the very first sentence of the teaching. And the very first sentence from Tilopa to Naropa on the banks of the river Ganges is, although Mahamudra cannot be taught, intelligent and patient Naropa, tolerant of suffering, who is engaged in austerity and is devoted to the Guru, fortunate one, do this with your mind. And then he goes on and we'll talk about some of the things he says. But the very first words in the Ganges Mahamudra, Mahamudra cannot be taught. It's like, what's up with that? Is this like some crazy, like Indian koan, right? What it's pointing to is has to do with experience, has to do with experiencing things, experiencing life, experiencing the world, experiencing your world. If you think about it, I invite you to think about it. And as I've thought about it, I have concluded that the Ganges Mahamudra is right when further in the teaching, it explains that there is no means of drawing closer to a phenomenon, love, inner peace, compassion, wisdom. There is no way to draw more closely to any of these phenomena, any phenomena in the world, than by experiencing it. Right? So how do you experience something? Somebody says to you, how do you experience things? You can't really teach that. It just happens organically and naturally. So the alternative to experience is thought. The alternative to experiencing is thinking about something, or to use a more exact term, conceptual thought. Thinking about a phenomenon through the use of concepts. Concepts, mental frameworks that help us understand something. And I think we can all agree, probably, maybe objections are allowed here. If you disagree, please say so. Understanding love is understanding the entity that we have labeled love is not the same as experiencing it. The best concepts can do, and I'm not saying they're not important. The best that conceptual thought can do is to point toward the thing, point in the direction of the thing, but it's not the same as experiencing the thing. And that's what Tilopa is trying, that's the point that Tilopa is trying to make, the point that Tilopa makes in the first few words of the Ganges Mahamudra. Although Mahamudra cannot be taught, intelligent and patient Naropa, because experiencing can't be taught. And what Tilopa goes on to do through much of the rest of the teaching is to draw analogies, to provide pointers to experiencing different phenomena like compassion, like emptiness, and like consciousness itself. And ultimately, if somebody were to say to me, Jeff, what's the definition of Mahamudra? Like what is the nexus of the teaching? What's the fundamental essence, the kernel of it? I would have to respond, if put on the spot like that, I would say mind meditating on mind. That is to say, using mind to experience mind, or consciousness to experience consciousness. Use the two terms interchangeably, mind and consciousness. They're synonyms in my Dharma, okay? Because the world that we experience is a function of our mind, for each of us individually, there is no world other than our experience of it. And our experience of it comes from mind. It makes sense for us to experience mind. It's abstract stuff for sure, and it's really, really important. For you, there is no world other than your experience of it. The way you experience the world and everything in it is through consciousness. Therefore, it's advisable for us to develop a more direct experience of our consciousness. What that means is mind meditating on mind. With this, Tilopa says, straight out of the Ganges Mahamudra, with this you will attain unsurpassable awakening. Amazing. I mean, I to this day I get chills over that, and that was one of the things that compelled me so much about the text, was at different places, and it's only 5.5 pages long. It's not like some voluminous text like like you see, and some of us have seen emptiness texts, emptiness. Anyways, I'm not going to digress further because we're running short of time. But there are some topics that are very voluminous. The Ganges Mahamudra, everything you need to know, 6.5 pages. That's all it is. And 3 or 4 times in the text, Tilopa says, with this, you will attain unsurpassable awakening. And he is so definitively conclusive about that. I just found myself really being compelled and said, I need to become more familiar with this. I need to deepen my experience of this teaching. Yeah. Mind meditating on mind, us having a direct experience of it that goes beyond a conceptual understanding of mind. The definition of mind being a formless continuum that functions to perceive and understand objects. Okay, we might apply ourselves to memorizing that definition of mind. It's not the same as experiencing it. And since we create the world with our mind, it makes sense for us to have a more intimate relationship with our mind, a more direct experience of it. Hence the very first words, although Mahamudra cannot be taught, patient and intelligent Naropa, tolerant of suffering. It can't be taught, must be experienced. So it is with everything in our life. If we want to know it, if we want to become it, if we want to get to a place of non-duality, for those of you who are familiar with that term, it comes through experience, not conceptual understanding. And experience can't be taught. We can only point to it. And in future classes, we will talk about different, it's really poetic too. It's really poetic. I'll just share the first analogy and then we got to close. But for example, it is like, he's talking about Mahamudra. For example, it is like looking in the middle of the sky and not seeing anything. In the same way, when your mind looks at your mind, thoughts stop and you attain unsurpassable awakening. So beautiful. I find it so beautiful and so just like, oh, there is hope after all. Anyways, we've run over a little bit. I'm sorry that I didn't allow it. I'm so into this. I love it so much. I get kind of carried away. So feel free to email questions or objections. They're always welcome. Any feedback that you'd like, please. And remember that these are recorded. So if you want to go back again, please feel free to. And we'll convene again here, same time, same place in a week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Thank you. Bye, Blanca. Thank you.